Hey, what's up, my friends? So I'm going to take you on another very quick case study of a flip property that we just completed. Is actually selling tomorrow, as a matter of fact. And so really quick, I'm going to stick to just kind of the meat and potatoes, exactly what you need to see and what you need to hear. So this property here was a property that we bought earlier this year. I believe we closed February 28th. I was just looking at the HUD statement. We closed earlier this year, and we're in the process of flipping it. So it's just slightly over 4 months, about 4 months and a week or so. This, once again, if you've watched some of my other case studies, we love the exurbs. We love the areas just outside of the suburbs of metro, like major cities, especially Houston, where we primarily invest in the greater Houston area. So this property is quite a bit of ways outside of Houston, 30, 40 minutes or so. And we love those areas because, you know, these days with people being able to work remotely, you know, we've had, you know, the COVID incidents and things like that. We found that, number one, there's not enough housing in major marketplaces for the most part, right? So people are like looking where they can find something, and not only find something, but find something affordable. But two, they like a little peace and quiet. They like a little fresh air. They like a little bit of land. This property actually had about 2 acres with it. And it still checked the most important box of all, guys, for our company anyways. When we're flipping properties, we're looking to provide a product that is affordable for the marketplace, but still adding value to that buyer, right? So this property, you're going to see what we provided for essentially $200,000 here. As you see the ARV, $200,000 property with 2 acres of land and a very, very nice remodel. So I'm going to take you through some pictures here, and it looked like a shack. I did another video walking through a video walkthrough of this. I encourage you to check that out. I'm doing a little bit more in-depth detailed video on what this property looked like, but it was rough around the corners. An older home. It did already have a metal roof. It was a pier and beam home. So even though you see a major transformation on the exterior, we didn't do a whole lot. Pressure washed the house and the roof. Did some siding repairs. We did not do complete siding replacement. I think we did replace all of the skirting around the base of the home. Minor repairs on the deck, and there you go. Gave it really, really just nice, clean curb appeal, nice, you know, white paint with a little pewter gray or whatever gray color that we used on there. And this is the interior. Once again, very, very light color scheme, vinyl plank flooring. You know, this little faux brick wall was there before, and I think that was kind of an error on my construction management team to leave that there. They left it. You know, I saw this property at the start. I didn't see it until I got these pictures, and I was kind of okay with it. And the property sold right away. We actually had multiple list offers. So you see here that there was paneling there. We did keep the paneling. If you look real closely, you can see there's paneling there. You know, higher price point homes, you know, will typically remove it and replace with sheetrock, but not always. You know, there's nothing wrong with some nicely painted paneling. Now, what you got to be careful is looking for cracks, seams, and gaps. You want to caulk that, fill that, nail that, screw that, so you don't have those gaps and seams in there. The kitchen was a gut job. It was a weird layout, and cabinets were just falling apart. They were old cardboard type cabinets. So for the most part, we did do builder grade cabinets, vinyl plank flooring, as you can see that. We did granite countertops. We did not do a backsplash. We just went with the 4-inch backsplash. Little cost savings there, and it was fine. Now, we did contemplate opening this up to the living room, the kitchen to the living, but in the end, we decided we were on a tight budget, and you know, we probably could have spent a little bit more there, just to be honest, but we left it the way it was. It kind of worked. Now, on this picture, you'll note that we did not install appliances. So a lot of flip properties, depend on where they're located, safety-wise and also geographically, like properties out in the country, there is obviously a lot of crime going on all the time. And we do know that people will go hit vacant houses specifically for appliances. So typically on our flips, like, we will not install appliances until right before closing, like literally like maybe the day before, a few days before. but we will virtually stage appliances, and we'll put that in the photography. Hey, these are virtually staged appliances. Appliances will be provided prior to closing. However, quick note, like if you're staging appliances, make sure you're going to provide those appliances. Like, for example, recently had staged photos with a refrigerator. We don't provide for refrigerators when we flip houses, but the buyer was like expecting a refrigerator because there was a refrigerator in the picture. So you got to clarify on that. And we're like, well, I guess we could provide a fridge if it is a full price or above full price offer. All right, so here's some more before and after pictures. It also had this tile ceiling. Don't love it. You know, a lot of times it's hard to match these tiles. We left it in most of the house where it was present. It was not present in all the house, if I recall, but we did leave it. You can keep it. I would not encourage you to do that if you're going to a higher price point. I wouldn't encourage you to leave beams like that are just randomly placed because of old kind of additions. But we did. For this price point and for this home, it was really good. And we didn't really cut too many corners. I mean, we did a major amount of work on here. But once again, reiterating price point, reiterating adding value, reiterating you got to pick and choose your spots, right? People ask me like, can you do this? Can you do this? You know, when it comes to rehabbing and flipping, I'm like, look, we can build the Taj Mahal if we have enough time and enough budget. But that's not the case in these flip deals. We have to get in and get out relatively quickly. And we have to be very careful and conscientious of where we're spending our money and where we're not spending our money. So you can see here we left some of the vinyl plank. The square tile on the ceiling. We did paint everything, replace a lot of baseboards, new flooring, new carpet, new lighting, things like that. Here we go. There's a closet. It's the basics. Just the basics, paint, flooring, little TLC. Now this is an interesting one. I believe the shower was existing, a fiberglass shower. So we resurfaced it, and then we did add some tile at the top. Basically, they did a tile tub surrounding the master bath that you probably see here. Here you go. And we said, hey, why don't you take some of the leftover tile and add a little mini surround on top of the fiberglass shower? Looks, okay, pretty good, better than painted, just walls. And it does provide some usefulness there. We did replace the new vanity, mirror, light, toilet, basic, standard kind of stuff. That was the master bath. Bathroom is a little bit funky. We left the cabinets. We left the existing countertop. It's like an old marble top. Didn't look great, but it wasn't horrible. It was in great shape. All right, so now let's get into the numbers. I know this is what you all came for. So once again, purchase price, and you can see these numbers reflected on our flip analyzer here. Purchase price was $77,000. Projected repairs were $63,344, and that's from a line itemized scope of works. We're pretty detailed in our repair estimates. Actual repairs was only $65,634. I say only because going over $2,000 on essentially $2,000 on a rehab budget of this size is not bad. It's not bad at all. The ARV was $200,000 was our projected ARV. The sales price ended up being right there, $199,788. Perhaps we listed this property too low. The reason I say that, we had a contract in a few days. We have multiple offers. That's usually a sign that we may have priced it a little too low. But it's also a sign, I always like to say, you may have just priced it just right. Because there's some times where we've just made $5,000 to $10,000 adjustments in price, and it's completely opposite, meaning high demand, low demand. It's kind of strange. So I think in this one, probably price it right, but who knows? We could have left some money on the table, but at the end of the day, we got, it's just business. We got so many other deals going. You don't want to get wrapped up. I guess the lesson is you want to get wrapped up in the mindset of trying to squeeze every nickel out of every single deal, right? Just do more deals, right? All the money goes into a pile essentially. So just keep them flipping more houses and just go off your numbers and trust your instinct on that. And the market, the other thing I would say on that is if you truly price a property too low, There's many times, watch my videos, where we go highest and best, and we go way over our asking price because people want that house so incredibly bad. We're not in that market right now as much. We hit it occasionally, but not like we used to. Like we were hitting that like every other deal we're putting on the market. Every week or 2 weeks we're putting a new flip on the property on the market, and we're going highest and best way over list price. This wasn't that kind of deal, but anyways, I digress. The whole time was basically not the time that we held it on the market. It was from the day we bought it, rehabbed it, and have sold it completely. It was essentially 4 months and I think about a week when we close it tomorrow. And our actual net profit, I say, is $35,000. That does include our realtor commission. So let's look over here. So if you see there here, that's the property value, sales price. That was our purchase price. That was our rehab. That was our acquisition cost. We bought this deal, if you recall, from a wholesaler. So their wholesale assignment fee was baked into that purchase price, but I still pay my acquisitions team, which is 2 full-time members on all our deals that we buy, regardless if they're wholesale or marketing, our own direct marketing or whatnot. So this kind of shows our loan amount, our loan to value, our cost of our money, 10%. We paid a point. These are kind of like ongoing fees, et cetera, for insurance, taxes and insurance, utilities. We had some closing costs at the buy, closing costs at the sell. The total commission rate is 6%, but half of that did go to my wife, who lists all my properties. So I highly encourage you guys, if you're flipping a lot of houses, I used to say, don't worry about it, just get an agent to do your listings, and you can. But if you're flipping a lot of houses, and it doesn't even have to be a lot, if you're flipping a few houses, this was another $6,000 to our bottom line, and it does not take a lot of work to list the house for sale. Now, showing buyers and taking them around, showing houses, stuff like that, that's a different story. But I do encourage you guys who are doing really become full-time real estate entrepreneurs to get your real estate license. If you need help with that, want to talk about joining our agent investment team, just hit me up, shoot me a private message or comment on this, and we'll send you some information. All right, but that being said, so the gross profit, if you look at these are kind of the HGTV numbers, right, is off a little bit, right? 36,000. Because you have to bake in your holding costs. Now, we're usually somewhere between this 4 to 7 month period. We were about 4 months and 1 week, so I just rounded up and said, hey, we're about a $29,000 profit on this deal, plus another $6,000 commission. So roughly $35,000. Now we'll say 34. Is basically what's gonna be to the bottom line of my business. Now, a couple last little things. You may have seen this before. I have some key indicators of a deal. These are key indicators of a flip deal. So when we're analyzing a deal, you got to be real careful, because a lot of investors, newer investors, man, they've got that HGTV, want to flip a house fever, and and they look at that gross profit number, and that's about all they'll look at. And not even factoring holding costs, going over on your rehab, all these other things. So here's some things that we look at when we're analyzing a deal. These are 3 key indicators of a deal. It doesn't mean that you have to be 100%. They all have to be green, and you have to be a green light to move forward on them. But they're things you want to look at. So number 1, is it a break even or even a minor profit after holding the deal for 12 months? That means if I plugged in all these numbers, right, with our projected ARV, our purchase price, and our rehab, plus our holding cost, right? If we didn't sell this deal, for an entire year, would we at least break even? If you can put yourself in that position, that's a key indicator of most likely a good deal. Number 2, would your ROI be more than 15% at the 6-month mark? This barely was. That's a good sign. And number 3, would your 6-month profit be 50% or greater than the rehab cost? So this is about 38%, right? And so, but if you look at it, our rehab cost is $65,000, and we're looking to see what's 50% of that is about $37,500. We would like our rehab to be 50%. Our profit to be 50% of that rehab amount. Why? It's risk versus reward. It's your effort versus your return, right? There's a lot of work that goes into rehabs. Even though I've got a full, construction company that does all of my flip projects, there's still headaches there. There's still risk there. There's still I'm utilizing my team to do these things, right? And I pay a markup. It's not like I'm getting rehab done for free. Like the rehab cost that I'm showing here is done by a construction company. And there's the cost of time, there's a cost of money, there's a cost of risk, there's a cost of liabilities that come with flipping houses. So this one was less than that. So it doesn't mean it's a no. It just means that you look at all the other factors. And one other thing I would say is also when you're looking at flipping a property, I like to say look and see if there are other exit strategies. Hey, is this a good candidate to flip? First of all, that's your first exit strategy. Number two, could you convert it to a rental? Could you sell it with owner financing? Could you do Airbnb? Could you just, do a wholesale, kind of do a minimal rehab and flip it to another investor? So you always want to make sure that you have multiple exit strategies on each and every deal. And that's how you can truly build a sustainable investment business that can run for years or decades, like I've been doing this. So for a long, long time. So I hope you got value from that. If so, we appreciate you hitting the like button, hit the subscribe button, give us some comments, and be on the lookout for the next video. You guys take care.